Warning, warning, warning. The masses once again are being bombarded with bullshit. Just read a very disturbing article the other day talking about these new virus hunters. We got a Global Virome Project going on now, so we can identify all 1.67 million viruses. Bullshit, poppycock. It's all a lie. It's a scam, folks. In order to understand the virus theory of disease, you have to understand the germ theory of disease. In order to understand the germ theory of disease, you have to understand the cause of disease. If you don't know the cause of disease, you're going to continue to believe in absurdities and then commit the atrocities that cause all of these things. And I know where most people's mindsets are at. They're totally convinced they catch a cold. They've been convinced that when we have skin eruptions, somehow a virus made that happen. They don't understand the cause of disease. It's not complicated. Body's made up of a bunch of cells. We got two fluids. One's the kitchen, it feeds. The other is the bathroom, it cleans and protects. And there's a toleration point within our bathroom. And when it doesn't get cleaned and filtered properly, it's going to back up, and the only place it can go is from where it came. So when we have skin interruptions on our body, there's no mysterious virus that's coming in and causing that. It's your body's own waste matter that wasn't able to be eliminated in the proper way, and now it's using an alternative channel of elimination, and those are known as fontanels. Many people consider the skin like a third kidney, so when the kidneys are not filtering the lymph system properly and the lymph system goes above a toleration point, the skin is going to be where the body tries to get rid of it in many cases. So when we see rashes and hives and measles and smallpox, there's no virus involved in this. That's all poppycock. It's your own waste matter that's not being filtered. It's that simple. Now, to really understand the virus theory of disease, once again, you got to understand the germ theory too. And the germ theory was promoted by Louis Pasteur, who stole the work of Anton Béchamp, who thought of it initially and realized it was a bunch of bunk. Pasteur said, hey, we can use this. Well, it supports the way we've been controlled all along, that we need some sort of poison to deal with this invader. Now disease is an entity. There's a bacteria attacking us. It's invisible, we can't see it. Oh, now we got a virus, can't see it, it's attacking us. Oh, evil spirits, we used to use those. Isn't that nice to have a convenient scapegoat we can't see? But the virus theory of disease was invented to save the germ theory of disease because it was falling on its face as it should. It's only a handful of conditions that you can say there's the germ and we know it's causing it. And I'm not denying, and I've mentioned before, that sometimes these germs and bacteria can be cofactors. But they're never the primary cause. They're always going to be a subsequent cause at best. And usually they're not that at all. It's hard to overcome this contagion myth, but it's one of the most powerful false beliefs that the powers that be insist that we believe in. Because it's one of the methods they kill us. It's one of the methods that organized medicine uses to say we're the experts. There's three legs they stand on, and that's one of them. The vaccines, look what we did. We eradicated all those diseases. That's a flat-out lie. The whole purpose of the virus theory now is to save the germ theory because it's not working. But now it's to also promote the vaccines, which is a biggest scam on this planet. Vaccines never eradicated any diseases. They cause a lot of harm when they do it. There's a lot better solutions for this. We don't need to focus on the specific immune system. We have a general immune system that works just fine when we eat the right foods. And again, what they're going to say is here we got 1.67 million viruses. And they're going to cause everything from obesity to cancer to crime. We got a vaccine for obesity now. It's not your fault. It's the darn virus. Now, what is a virus? Virus is a term that's been around for a long time, and it just is a term to designate poison. So it's like an umbrella term that a lot of things can fall under that. Included in that area would be dead genetic debris, which guess what, can be identified, and that's what they're doing. Look, we can identify this virus. Dead genetic debris. When a cell dies, the cell has to program the cell to do things. That's where the RNA, DNA come into play. And that's all they're doing. They're identifying that and they're saying, oh my God, it's a virus. Now, I'm not denying that if we have too much dead genetic debris, viruses, and we're not getting rid of them, they're going to pose a problem because they're going to cling to weak cells. But we shouldn't have weak cells to begin with, and we shouldn't have this dead genetic debris accumulating. But it will if the lymph system gets backed up. And again, this is the disease process. If you don't understand the cause of disease, you won't understand that the germ theory of disease is bogus. And then you won't understand that equally so, the virus theory of disease is just as bogus. And to help you understand that, look at how our medical system in America was manipulated by Rockefeller. The 1910 Flexner Report. This guy went out and evaluated all the medical schools back then. 2/3 of them were homeopathic medicine, and the other 1/3 was allopathic medicine. And over the next 50 years, Rockefeller gave, what was it, $500 million, I think it was, during that time period, and gave that profession an unfair advantage so they could easily outcompete the other people. And then, of course, in the late 1930s, they passed all these laws giving a monopoly to an industry that shouldn't even exist. We shouldn't have a treatment peddling system for lifestyle-related problems, and yet that's what the vast majority of what our system is doing to us right now. It's not the solution. And yet, they're going to be brainwashing us. We're going to be seeing all these shows about all these brilliant minds going out there identifying all the viruses, and they're not all bad, but boy, some of them, look out. The whole idea of what they want us to believe that these viruses are doing is just so absurd. But it's easily accepted because we already believe we catch a cold. And when you just think about it, how in the world can something so invisible come inside me and all of a sudden my nose is pouring waste matter out of it? Oh, look, there's bacteria there. Yeah, they're the consequence of the waste matter. A little bitty virus is making your nose run? No, it's not what's doing it. Your lymph system is backing up, and its body's wisdom, it goes to something that can exit the body, like the skin, the nose and sinus areas, or the lungs, cold and flus, pneumonia, measles, hives, smallpox. These are not some mysterious thing attacking us. We don't live in that kind of world. We live in a world where we've made mistakes, and the sickest of us are taking advantage of that. And the whole system can't work unless we stay sick, so sickness begets sickness. And they're just a reflection of us. So there's only one way to defeat these people. They're not enemy number one. Fake news, enemy number one. Oh, how about the globalists, enemy number one. The psychopaths who rule the world, enemy number one. No! You want to find enemy number one for most people, go run into the bathroom, look in the mirror, there's enemy number one. Now, most of y'all on my channel don't have an enemy in that mirror anymore. We see heroes. That's what creates the hero. Being an enemy is a good thing. Think about it. How do you defeat your enemy? Oh my God, I'm the enemy. I'm easy to defeat. I can change what I do in a second if I just knew what to do. But we don't know that, do we? And if we're told what to do, we're going to be like, that's not a fair trade. No, ain't going to do it. Life wouldn't be worth living. I love all those things I've been eating all my life, and boy, do they bring back memories. Yeah, I understand. It's hard to let go. It's almost like you got to kill part of who you were in order to be a better person. And that's part of why change is so hard. Psychologically, it's difficult. We all know that. That's why the best way to change is not the little baby step approach. It's that quantum leap approach that can come from taking a solid food vacation on juices. When you do that, you flush out the serpent, bump up your biphotons, and in essence, never have another cold or flu. Why don't I catch colds and flus? Because you don't catch them. It's not a virus or a bug that's going over and attacking somebody. Unless you really got a hold of some really bad stuff, and there are some things, people don't wipe their hands and you could eat stuff, and there's all sorts of ways that those type of things can come into us, and we'll have a self-limited disease trying to get rid of it. But that's what all those other conditions are. They're a self-limited disease because our lymph system went above the toleration point. And why do some people catch a cold and others don't? Well, if we had a crapometer in our lymph system that measured the particles in there, and let's say the toleration point was at 100 parts per million, and you should be down there in the 5 or 10 range or so. But you haven't been eating very well, and your system isn't getting filtered very well, and you're up there around 80, 90, 95. You're on the verge of going over the toleration point. Now little Johnny comes home and you know, had some food poison or something, didn't wipe his hands, and now he spread all over, and all of a sudden you got that in you too. Well, that was enough to put you over the 100 mark, and you'll have the flu-like symptoms. Whereas myself, I'm way down here low. You can bring that in, it's going to raise it up a little bit. And if it's really bad, my body will know, and I'll get rid of it immediately. Throw it up, have a vomiting. The rest of us, we end up getting rid of it in flu-like symptoms if it accumulates and finally goes above the toleration point. When something comes in really bad, we have a low tolerance for it, it has a high toxicity level, we're going to get rid of it immediately. And I'll explain how that works. There's two types of short-term self-limited diseases, and we have 4 long-term stages of disease. I explained that in my video, Healing Secrets Revealed. In order to make any sense out of all of this, whether or not they're really virus hunters and there are viruses, to make any sense out of the vaccine theory of disease, the germ theory of disease, you have to understand the cause of disease. You have to understand how your body works. The people who study all of this, they technically know what's going on, but practically they don't understand how the body's backing up, and that's where the disease source is coming from. You can figure all that out yourself by simply going through the experience of having a solid food vacation. And again, what we have here, when we look at how these people are manipulated, and I knew I shouldn't have went that way by saying it that way. Now I'm not sure how I want to turn that around. I'll just go with this. If you look at the father of modern biology, that's going to be the connection to the Flexner Report. I told you about the Flexner Report just a moment ago, but I digress and talk about a lot of things and don't come back to the connection I wanted to make. Rockefeller manipulated the medical industry to get allopathic doctors to promote their germ theory of disease so they can have poisons to kill the germs. That's the whole basis behind how they got started. But now what we have, Rockefeller hired this man, Thomas Rivers, who's the father of modern biology. This is their long-term goal, my friends, for a one-world collectivist state. They know incrementally they got to do certain things, and the biggest thing they want us to believe in is this contagion myth. Because if we finally woke up and realized that we don't catch a cold or a flu or pneumonia, we eat it. Once we realize that's the cause of disease, then we realize it's the cause to almost all of our other diseases. It's also the cause to the fall of mankind. It's the reason why we have all these other problems that seem impossible to solve because they're so gigantic. But when we realize if we just change our collective mentality, most of those problems that we're struggling with trying to help make better downstream won't even exist anymore. It's exciting once you see the big picture. Once you realize that correcting one simple mistake solves a lot of problems. It changes our mentality. And this will happen to you when it happens to you, but there's the individual and there's the collective. No man's an island. The individual can't escape the collective. You really can never come out of Plato's cave because you're always going to be part, you're going to still be part of in there because you're connected to everyone else down there. That's what the hero's journey is all about. Is knowing it's not fun going down in Plato's cave. People are resistant. When you try to show them the truth, they're going to scream and yell at you saying, "What the hell's wrong with you?" That hurts my eyes, looking into the fire, looking into the light. I don't want to know I'm the enemy. That's not bad news. That's the best news in the world. Fake news is not #1 enemy. The powers that be are not the #1 enemy. We are the enemy. The powers that be and fake news are a reflection of us collectively. We have to collectively change. We've got to reach the tipping point. And you doctors are in the prime position to do that. Because you can come out and say, "Hey, we didn't know the cause of disease was that simple. Hey, we didn't know that there was a simple solution and we could use that it's going to solve most of the problems." And of course, it's only part of the problem. It's not a panacea. There are other problems that have to be addressed in addition to going upstream. And I explain all that in my other videos. We can be damaged individually. Most of it's on a temporary basis. We can repair that. And that's what makes the art of healing a little tricky. Because how do we know how much of one protocol to use and when to back off of it? Well, that's where you play a role. You got to pay attention to what's happening because you know your body better than anyone else. Obviously, how will you know if you have some defective gene at birth that doesn't allow your body to produce a certain level 2 nutrient? And now that's the one thing you've got to supplement to make things work. That happens. And from that perspective, that's a tough boat to be in. Fortunately, most of us won't have that problem. And for the few that do, let's get to the tipping point soon so we can fine-tune this and figure out how to help all those people that are temporarily impaired and what appears to be permanently damaged. I'm convinced we can repair a lot of things. We already know we can repair DNA damage. A lot of things can be repaired. The body's miraculous once we understand how to get out of its way and how not to be tricked and fooled into the virus hunters, because that's where they're going with all of this. There's going to be a vaccine for everything. As long as we believe in absurdities, as long as we believe in the vaccine theory of disease, we're going to commit atrocities. We're going to vaccinate our children. We're going to all line up when the pandemic comes out, and we're going to be dropping like flies all around us, not realizing that the poison was in the vaccine. That's what they did 100 years ago. It's going to happen again. That's why they've been doing all these different swine flus, Ebola flus, you name it, the Ebola. All of those things are designed to keep bombarding your brain with more references that are making you think that this is a reality. This is what our experts are doing. But you have to understand these people are bamboozled, they're tricked. You have to understand what you look at when you look at a virus. You have to understand when they came up with the virus theory of disease, there were no microscopes that could actually see it. Now the Rife microscope could, but they destroyed that. But after that point, they had when they actually came up with their theory, it wasn't seen. And when they started taking pictures of it, it killed whatever it was, so everything they saw was dead. And it wasn't a black and white photo, it was a smudge and a smear. You can't tell anything. Most of what we see is a computer-enhanced picture of something. I remember watching pictures a long time ago of a supposed virus attacking a cell. And that's not what it was. It was a macrophage doing its job, gobbling up the dead genetic debris. Again, all you have to do to trick our experts is to just twist things around. That's what they say when the cancer gets into the lymph nodes. They say that the cancer attacked the lymph node. It's not that. That's not how it works. The lymph node is the vacuum cleaner in the case, and the cancer is the dirt. Dirt never attacks the vacuum cleaner. So that's how they trick our experts. They always just get them to believe the first thing wrong. And that's what they're doing with us now, making us believe in the contagion myth. Doing anything to keep us from understanding the real cause of disease, and it's not complicated. We have 2 bathrooms in our body, and when they're not clean, they don't work right. But when you do a solid food vacation, one of the most exciting things you do is you create a retrograde flow in your colon, where you drastically change the ionic pressure in your colon, because before, it's supposed to be a hollow organ, but most of us have 12, 15 meals backed up, so the colon can't be used as one of those alternative channels of elimination. But when you take a solid food vacation, the colon kicks in big time, because the body is full of waste matter. So the body, again, is going to exit out something that can go out the body. But it can't go into it if it's all full of crap. So it's called a retrograde flow, and that's when we turn our colon into a fontanel on a nice long solid food vacation to help drain the other bathroom. And when we drain that bathroom and the main bathroom, all the other cells are able to clean themselves out, and then the warning signs go off. That's all it is. If you got eruptions coming out of your skin, don't fall for the virus scam. It's your own body's inability to filter your own waste matter, and it's got to come out somewhere. There's only one place our lymph system can get back up into, and that's where it came from. So beware, my friends. Warning, warning, warning. Tell your friends, don't buy into this virus bullshit. And I know how hard it is to believe, because we've been told over and over we got a virus for this and a virus for this, and it's all poppycock. And I mentioned A virus, dead genetic debris, it's going to cling to dead cells. It can cause a problem, but it's not a primary cause ever. And it's not acting on anything, it's just clinging. You always got to go to the primary cause. Anytime you identify what you think is the primary cause, you got to consider, is it a subsequent cause? Where did it come from? What caused it? Was it an effect before it became a cause? And you go, wow, it was. And if that's the case, then you know something preceded it. You got to find the primary cause. And when it comes to our species, that primary cause is cooking our food. That's when we stopped eating biophotons. Now we lost cellular communication. Now we have chaos. Can't find a better word to describe this planet and my species right now other than chaos. But I get excited because I know that could change big time. That's what I live for, to spread the message, to motivate everyone to be the best that they can be. Because once that idea catches on, oh man, I'm telling you, we're all in for a treat.